Uh, I'm Scotty. You're not. I'm gonna show you something quick. Yeah. So I have now a mug for Dis-Cember. I had a mug for Halloween, or a mug for Dis-Cember, and I had that Christmas one for my nutmeg, eggnog, drink nutmeg. There's nutmeg in it. Nutmeg, like I'm not a spice. It's a big freaking cup, though. I got this from work. It was a prize at the picnic. So, one of the things I want to do for this year in Dis-Cember is to look at a bunch of the Disney Channel original movies that I have yet to look at. I looked at some of the big ones, Brink, and Jackson the movie, Jumping Ship, Horse Sense, all of my personal favorites, ones that I get hold of. But now that I have Disney Plus, I can look at some of those that I don't have hold of. Starting with the Zenon trilogy. We're starting with the first one, of course. Well, but I start with the third one? It made no sense. Coming out in 1999. One thing I didn't realize until looking it up on Wikipedia, this movie is supposed to take place in 2049. That's only 24 years from now, by the way. But, yeah, when you're on a space station, you can almost get it. You can see it, okay. But as soon as they go to Earth, I'm sorry, it's 1999. No matter how you change how people dress or try to dress up a set or add sound effects to cars to make them sound more futuristic, like Aunt Judy's Volkswagen, there's a scene where it's pulling up and you hear this sound, like it's trying to make it sound futuristic, but it's just like that's just a Volkswagen. It's not. It's not. What? Like you get a futuristic feeling when you're in space on the space station, but when you come to Earth, no, this is they're trying to make it look futuristic, and it's not at all. And this is one I frequently watched back in the day. Great memories of it. I like all three of these, even though the third one is kind of dumb. But well, the plot of the second one is kind of stupid too. But we'll get to that one next. But anyway, so the plot, like, it's weird because the trailers they show on Disney Channel always kind of ruin it. It's like Zenon car is grounded, literally grounded. She's on a space station, but she's grounded, sent to Earth because she's grounded. But her whole getting grounded is like the first 20 minutes, half hour of this movie, or so. I didn't realize how much of a lead up there is to her actually being grounded. When that's in the trailer, where it's like Zenon car is big trouble. You're grounded, and I mean grounded, and they point to Earth. I'm just like, and I'm watching this now. I'm just like, that's. So this is based on a book by the same name. It was originally supposed to be a TV series. It's supposed to be a pilot for a TV show, but they decided to make it a movie, and then they got 2 sequels. Given Disney's 65 episode rule, I don't know how this would have done anyway. That's why Disney Channel shows I don't exactly like. Well, I'm close to 40 now, but like, it's kind of hard, even if you want to get your kids into this stuff. Like, if I want to show my son, I have one child, show my son something Disney, and like, oh, reruns are fine, but if it's something new, and it's like, well, what's the point when you got 65 episodes and they're done, because that's how many you need, But sometimes they go further, I guess. But yeah, so this story is about Zenon Carr, played by Kirsten Storms. Not Kristen Storms, as I used to call her back in the day. Kirsten Storms, who I also know from Days of Our Lives, because my mom and my grandma watched that shit. They did. They were all into the soap operas. My grandma viciously every day, set up a VCR to record it. And she would have a backlog of tapes she'd have to catch up on because she was at work or something. And she'd sit there watching the tapes. And I get caught watching it sometimes too. There was a whole story about there was a serial killer going around killing people. Spoilers for almost 20, 30 some odd storyline. Where there was a serial killer going around Salem killing people. Only for it being revealed to be Marlena. And it being revealed that actually she was under some sort of mind control or something. And that these people, she didn't actually kill them, but they were stuck on some island, and it was the Stefano's son, Tony DeMera, who was behind it. Now, if I messed up any of that, and all your Days of Our Lives purists want to chime in and help correct me, maybe I'm a little bit wrong, but that's what I remember. Also, was she possessed by the devil or something? Help me, please, because I remember that storyline specifically because of how batshit crazy it was, even for soap operas, where, like, you think soap operas, you think, I'm pregnant. I'm not your brother. I'm his evil twin. I'm not your boyfriend. I'm his evil twin. Or some kind of shit like that. But, like, that whole story. And then, like, the Kirsten Storms, I think, was around that time. And then they do what they do in soap operas, and they just replace it with another actor and say it's the same person. And that's when I kind of lost interest, but like, it's a soap opera, so yeah. Sometimes the stories are compelling. Sometimes it's boring, like The Young and the Restless. How many times do we have to talk to this dude in an office? Anyway, she was another thing. She was a Kim Possible. She was like a cheerleader or something. I don't know. But anyway, she's 13-year-old Zenon Carr, and she's a bit of a troublemaker, as you'll find out. We also have her best friend Nebula, Space, played by Raven-Symoné, who's now just Raven, who would blow up on the Disney Channel and not reprise her role for the second film, but show up in the third film as a cameo, and they still replaced her character with a character who was supposed to be her cousin, though they could have just replaced her character completely and had it be Nebula in this thing. There's really no point to Raven-Symoné being in the third one. Will I get there? So, that's her best friend. We also have Todd from the Goosebumps Trilogy episode as one of the characters on the space station. And this kid, who's not Chris Carson from Casper's the beginning, but I've seen this guy before. They sound similar, but it's not him, I don't think. I'd look it up. I have it pulled up on the thing. Hold on. I don't know the character's name either. Lynx? Is that it? No, Lynx is... It's a girl's name. Brandon Ritter Jefferson. No, Blair Slater. Is this him? He was in Final Destination Bloodlines. He directed it. What? Hold on a minute. Freaks. Final Destination Bloodlines director. Fraggle Rock. I went to. I want to know if we got origins. Okay. TV movie. It's not feature film. Okay, acting role. Goosebumps. Oh, Vampire Breath. He was the Vampire Breath. Yeah, he was the brother in Vampire Breath. So weird episode Escape. Zenon. So yeah, there's a connection there. That is him. That is him. Oh, I thought he was the cool snow guy. Maybe that's not him. But those are similar too. They also sound the same, but that's him. I don't know if he's one of the directors of Punishment and Bloodlines, but blah, blow that away. But yeah. So there's a whole thing. This band called Microbe. is going to come to the space station to perform, and one of the lucky people, mostly girls, on the space station is going to dance with them, with Protozoa, who is played by... I gotta go back quick. Philip Reese, who Doctor Who fans know as River Song's boy toy husband in The Husbands of River Song. Yes, he's been in other things, I'm sure. I know there's at least one more thing I know him from. Doctor Who, The Full Monty. Maybe not. Is it a film? Adventures of Tintin. No, that's... Maybe I'm thinking of the guy who replaced him in the third one. We'll get to that. But, maybe I am. So, we're introduced to Zenon's parents. Who's not Body by Jake. Oh, I always thought it was Body by Jake, and I thought he played one of these, but I couldn't find it anywhere. But Jake Steinfeld, Hedy Steinfeld's uncle. No, but he took the hair and stuff. Looks like him, but it's not him. Anyway, so they are scientists, and so when Zenon was a kindergartner, they went up to the space station to do their science projects. Zenon decides she wants to do a spacewalk, and then goes out and does it, and then gets in trouble. She wants to see a solar flare up close, which that's kind of dangerous, but okay. She's the only one who really gets in trouble for it, which even she calls out as bullshit, and I call it out too. She's like, they don't get in trouble. They said it was all your idea. And they weren't out in space. But they were still down in a place they weren't supposed to be. But they get a slap on the wrist, and she's the one that gets in trouble. Because that's... You'll find there's a lot of bullshit they put in this so that the plot can happen. Because there are several times when she tries to tell these people something, and they keep denying it. Even when it doesn't make any sense that they don't believe her anymore. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. So she is in big trouble major, and she is clearly on probation major because she is just in trouble. So we see Mr. Parker Wyndham, the guy who's in charge of the space station, and his goon, Mr. Lutz, who I always thought was Andy Dick back in the day. I call him Diet Dick because he kind of looks like Andy Dick, but he has less hair and he's not as funny. Just find a picture of this guy who plays Lutz. Tell me he can't be related to Andy Dick in some way, shape, or form. I mean, come on. No, she starts to notice that they're acting weird once they get on the space station. And I also notices that Wyndham has a weird eye twitch. He has a towel whenever he's lying. He's like, I'm a big microphone fan myself, or whatever he calls it. Microscope fan myself, because you can't see it with my glasses, but he does that when he's lying. And she even tells some people about it, and no one even tests it or anything, just like... So she wins the contest, because of course she does, but she starts to spy. I gotta mention that, because it's an important plot point for later. She wins the contest with her doll that she made of Protozoa, and so she gets to dance with them when they come up. So, yeah. So, she spies on Lutz and catches him going into the databanks, which is a top 4 secret location, or top secret level 4 location or something. And so she catches him and she kind of stops him doing what he was gonna do. But she ends up sneaking back out again to try to catch him. This scene makes no sense to me. So she watches Lutz do this thing, put the thing in. He goes through the door. She then gets out of her hiding spot and goes through the door. And Commander Plank is right there. You cannot tell me he didn't see Lutz walking around. If he and a couple of people are right there when she goes through the door, how could they not see Lutz walking around? It's impossible. It makes no sense. The editing would indicate that Lutz goes through the door, she gets to her hiding spot, goes to go through the door. Planck is right there. How would he not see Lutz? And when she tries to tell him that, he refuses to believe her. And they think she was trying to get into the memory banks. And don't believe her when she says that it was Lutz. Because I don't believe Wyndham would try to bring down the space station. And there's never a solid reason given for why he's trying to do this. The only thing they ever come up with is for money, to make money or something. There's never any real big reason why. There's no big moment. Oh, you caught me. There's no Scooby-Doo moment type. No. So she's grounded. She's sent to Earth, to live with her Aunt Judy. Yeah, and if you're watching this movie, you're like, yeah, she's not really that grounded. She's able to do so much. Grounded as in she's sent to the ground on Earth. And that's it. She's not forced to sit at home. She's able to go out with the new friends she meets. She's able to go out in public and hang out and do all this stuff. Go horse riding. And I'm like, she's supposed to be grounded. And really, only punishment is that she can't be on the space station? Because that is absolutely stupid. She's supposed to be punished. And she's still able to go around and have fun. Hell, the fact that she's able to go around so freely is how she's able to find her way back to the space station. It's kind of a give and take, but yeah, she arrives on Earth with her Aunt Judy, who we find out is afraid to go into space. Something they'll transfer to the mom in the next one about being afraid to go to Earth, which is weird, but you know. And then they do something that's weird, where like she has a problem with gravity, but there's artificial gravity on the space station. So why should real gravity mess her up? Well, she's like, oh, gravity. She gets down, she falls down right away. I'm like, but there was gravity on the ship. Artificial gravity is supposed to be a simulation of what a real gravity would be like. So what's the difference? And there's something about it's heavier on Earth or something. I don't know. But she's trying to take it up as a gangplank and she can't do it because of the gravity. No one's helping her with her stuff. No. So her aunt takes her out for Din Din. And that's where we meet the Earth characters. Greg, played by Gregory Smith. Gee, I wonder where they came up with that name, Greg. Gregory Smith, who is Alan Now Shut Up from Small Soldiers. He was also Tim in The Tale of Train Magic from Are You Afraid of the Dark? And he is now a director, directing very many things. TV episode, Flash, and many other stuff. Arrow, I think. He's done many. He's a pretty good director from what episodes I've seen. Even if the writing isn't that strong, he's directed it pretty well. And Everwood. He would go on to be on Everwood. Yes. And then you have Brendan Jefferson. I'm thinking of Brandon Adams, but like, he has 3 names. Brendan Richard Jefferson is Andrew, who had been another decom, the other me, as well as being X-Ray from Holes. That's right. And then there's Margie, the girl that won't go away. She's in all 3 of these goddamn things. And honestly, you could have taken her out of the 3rd one. She's more important to these first 2 than the 3rd one. The 3rd one has characters that are just there. And she is played by... I should keep it on. Lauren Maltby. You've seen her in things, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So, I'm not going to go through all the fish out of water stuff that really shouldn't be there. There's the whole thing about how she can't swim in water because it's different than swimming in space, but there should be water in space. On the space station, there should be water if they're getting clean, right? Also, they use Celsius up there and Fahrenheit down here, so she makes it her science experiment too hot and blows something up. She doesn't know what rain is, but then remembers what rain is. It's all the fish out of water stuff. She's afraid of horses. That's a legitimate thing, but like more legitimate than anything. Like all this fish out of water stuff. I know it's been since kindergarten, but she lives on a space station in the future, and they monitor stuff on Earth. You think she would know about all this stuff, right? They talk about the President of the United States as Hillary Clinton by 2049, which would probably put Chelsea Clinton. Then you got Chelsea. Is it Chelsea or Kelsey? You think about Chelsea Clinton? You think you got Chelsea Carter? You think you got Kelsey? Is it Chelsea? Kelsey. You think you got Chelsea Clinton? Kelsey? You think you got Kelsey Clinton? You think you got Chelsea? Doing the bloopers from Rush Hour. Who do you think you got? Chelsea Clinton? I still say that line, by the way. When I'm at the... In fact, I saw the complete series of Super Friend. $80. Think you got Chelsea Clinton? Yeah, let's say that line. Chelsea Clinton is the President of the United States in 2049. Well, it's better than who we have now. But then, I thought about this. That would make her in her 50s, right? Why are all presidents gotta be old? I mean, hold on. Let's do a little research. Okay? See how old Chelsea Clinton is now. No. Okay. Does it say anything? No. I'm just going to go here to this one because I don't want to. Chelsea Clinton. So she's 45 years old now. Born in 1980. Okay, so she's 45 years in 2025. So add 24 years to that. She'll be 69 years old? You're telling me you're like, because when I was a kid, it's like, oh, Chelsea Clinton's the president. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's like a younger president. You know, you're a kid, you don't know. But like, you can see every time someone runs for president, that like, Adam Sandler said it when he reprised Opera Man on SNL. Here we go again. 70-year-old men. Why is it all our presidents have to be old fogies? Old 70-year-old people who... Come on. I mean, you have to be, what, 35 to run for president, right? So why don't we ever have anyone like 40 years old? I could run for president. No one would vote for me. But like, why can't we have like someone who's 40? Why does it always have to be old people? And they're saying Chelsea Clinton's going to be president in 2049. She'll be almost 70 years old. Come on. Maybe that was a thing back then. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, she's the president. President Chelsea Clinton. Anyway. So they find that she can't communicate to the space station, only to her mom. Andrew is able to hack it and get the thing off so they communicate to Nebula. And like, this is one of the things where she's like, oh, talking about the problems I have up there. And she's like, well, how did you know? She tried to tell people. They don't believe her. Like, when they go to leave, though, so what I forgot to mention is that Nebula found this little disc, or she found a disc or something, and they fashioned it into an earring for her. Well, the earring turns out to be this disc that lets you use to put a virus in the space station. Yeah, because when Andrew tries to check it out, when they realize it's the disc, Andrew tries to check it out and finds that it's a virus. It destroys his computer. So this whole thing is Lutz is trying to track down this disk. It's very confusing. So she tries to tell the parents, her parents what's going on. They still don't believe her. This is what frustrated me. So they still don't believe her. Then they hang up and they go, and we see that there's a whole bunch of problems going on at the space station. And one of the parents says, how did she know all this stuff was going on? And I'm like, dude, if stuff is happening, first of all, here's the situation. Planck is under the impression that Zenon broke into the memory banks. Now shit's going on. And he's not trying to call her back up there to figure out what she possibly did. He doesn't put two and two together on this. But also, she is telling them about what's supposed to be happening. The stuff that is happening, and they still act like they don't believe her. Unless they're trying to keep her safe by keeping her down there. It makes no sense to me. It makes no sense. So she decides she's got to find a way. So we got to waste about 10 minutes of runtime here by trying to track down this space shuttle that's supposed to go up, only for them to be too late. Then for them to realize, oh shit, microbe. Hey, why didn't we just do that 10 minutes ago instead of wasting time on this other space shuttle? Because to me, it's pretty freaking obvious. You know? They mentioned it a couple times during this, and it's Margie who gives the idea. So they're able to get her in and set her up. And she tells Aunt Judy, I have to go. Doesn't tell her anything, but somehow Aunt Judy's able to figure out where she went. And this leads to the climax of the film. Okay? So she's able to convince Protozoa to let her come onto the space station with her. By the way, this is under the guise that she's going back to do the dance thing, and that's it. And so when they get on the show, she's like, oh, there's a little situation major I need to take care of, but that's fine. And upon saying that she still had, oh, by the way, so she had the disc. She makes a fake deal with Lutz to get the disc back, but knowing that he would betray her, she gives him a fake disc with a little thing that pops her face in. My question, why, other than to check the disc and have the gag, why would he put a disc with a virus on it in his own computer? Because when Andrew did it, it destroyed his computer. So why would he put it in the computer? I know he's got to check it to make sure it is. But why would you do that to your own computer? And it's weird. It's very weird. Because Andrew's computer goes kaput. But in the next scene, you see the animation from the thing on a local computer in like the library or something. And I'm like, wait, why would you pull that up there? Unless you... He said he was able to fix his computer, I guess, and back it up. I don't know. Yeah. So in trying to chase her, they get on the ship and are locked like a cargo hold and end up going in space. So is Aunt Judy. So we're all going to space now. And I guess we got to run out some more time because they get there and she tries to explain what's going on. Even though all this shit is going on, and everything that she said is supposed to happen is happening, Planck still doesn't believe her and demands that she and her aunt, even her aunt's like, no, what she's saying is true. He's like, lock them both in my office. Really? Really? And what's worse with this whole situation is they're saying all this stuff that Lutz and Wyndham have set this up so the whole thing can fail and crash and all that. And on the other side of this conversation, there's Lutz and Wyndham who are desperately trying to get another shuttle to send them back to Earth as quick as possible. Kind of suspect, don't you think? But no, they get into the office and they get Greg, to call Nebula off screen, and she saves the day. They go into the things, they hack into the computer, save the day, and restore the thing. Then they arrest those two. Because, of course. Yes, the day is saved thanks to Zenon. And now it's time for music. Yes. So Pro is always ready to sing his song. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Make my heart go boom, boom. My supernova girl. Or lip sync. Obviously lip sync to it. Because, I'm sorry. I always find it weird when you have people lip syncing to a song that has obvious audio editing. It's like zoom, 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 and my heart go boom, boom. My supernova girl, 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 girl. How is he echoing? How it does not feel like a live performance. He's lip syncing. Obviously, how is there an echo if it's a live performance? It makes no sense. But he's like, there's two things. One, he wants to dedicate this song to a very special guy named Greg. By the way, we never see him again. Greg is supposed to come back for the sequel, but there's another guy who's shoehorned in as a love interest. I don't know. Anyway, the second thing is that Zenon is giving up her being Protozoa's dance partner for Nebula, who kind of also wanted it earlier in the film. And I've said this since the first time I watched this. Like, her defense is, oh, I get to ride back in the shuttle with him, or got to ride back in the shuttle with him. Because she doesn't go back to Earth, I don't think. I don't think she's grounded anymore. But like, everyone's like, oh, we're sorry, we didn't believe you. Yeah, we believed her soon. You know. And even Plank and Aunt Judy are kind of a thing now, I guess. But I thought about this all the way back. I'm like, why can't they both just dance? It's like, you have pull, right? Hey, I'm going to dance with you, but I want her to dance. Why can't they both go up there and dance? Why does it only have to be Nebula, you know? And no, we get to dance with the song, and everyone is happy. Yay. So that's Zenon, Girl of the 21st Century. And it's pretty good, in my opinion. I wouldn't say it holds up, because we're obviously it's supposed to be 2049, seeing as I'm watching this in 2025, and it's very obviously 1999 disguised to be 2049. Very badly, I might add. Yeah. But I think it still works in a way, you know? So what are your thoughts on Zenon, Girl of the 21st Century? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm this guy, and I'll see you in the next one.